is the best part of the golden age that you are experiencing right now that you want, that you think is not getting enough media attention?
Well, I think this is given the past 24 hours, what I'd like to say on that is that we are the media now. And that shows like Charlie's and shows like mine, you can find me at Benny Johnson on all social media, and the Benny Show. And we were able to ask the questions that people actually care about. We were able to ask President Trump 4 questions. All 4 of them trended globally and worldwide and got major attention. And we were able to run circles around this the corporate media. And that's because we answer to you, the American people. And it's our great honor to do that. It's a huge compliment to be a team at the White House that allows for independent voices to access the president.
Benny, thank you so much. We'll see you soon. We'll see you at the Student Action Summit on week from Friday. Thanks so much. SAS2025.com. That is the Student Action Summit in Tampa, Florida. Let me just remind you, Greg Gutfeld, Tucker Carlson, Kristi Noem, Donald Trump Jr., the biggest speakers in the movement. An all-star lineup. It is time for unity. It is time for conviction. It is time for energy. It is time for purpose. It is time for action, action, action. Steve Bannon will be doing a show live. I'll be doing my show live. Benny Johnson will be doing his show live. I mean, you cannot put together a movement or a combination of speakers even remotely close to this. It's SAS2025.com. That is SAS2025.com. Laura Ingraham will be there. We're going to have debates. We're going to have breakout sessions. We're going to have vendors. We're going to have exhibitors. You want to find your future husband, find your future wife. It's an amazing place to do that. SAS2025.com, week from Friday. Biggest event in the movement this summer. SAS2025.com. Get your tickets. Tampa, Florida.
Have you ever seen those ads where you're like playing as the soldier going left to right and you get like the -1, +2? It looks like a lot of fun.
How about the store? Temporary grants you and all party members.
Bot Rix has correctly joined the channel.
Your auto attack and strikes of opportunity hits have a 10% chance of resetting cooldown your clauses smash. Your melee attacks to instantly trigger an additional melee attack. Skull runner.
That ability isn't ready yet. It's too far away. I'm out of range. I need to get closer. It's too far away. I need to get closer. I'm out of range. I can't do that yet. That ability isn't ready. Not ready yet. That ability isn't ready. That ability isn't ready yet. Can't do that That ability isn't ready yet. Can't do that. Not ready. That ability. Can't do that yet. I need to get closer. I'm out of range.
Grasp. Keep your eyes on the horizon. Time to get some answers. Let's get this show.
Not ready. That ability isn't ready yet. I can't do that yet. That ability isn't ready. I can't do that.
take a moment and relish this with me. Soon all will be revealed. Okay then. Let's do this. Now keep an eye out. I'll have this licked in 2 shakes of a...
Warning. Lifeform pattern not recognized. Archival processing terminated. Continued interference will result in targeted response.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. We might have a complication or two.
Security breach in progress. Analysis of historical archives. Transferred to lower priority queue. Countermeasures engaged.
Ah, you want to play hardball, eh? That's just my game. Couple more minutes and I'll...
Threat index threshold exceeded. Celestial archive uprooted. Security level heightened.
What's the good news?
How do I get rid of this shit, man?
Not ready. Isn't ready yet.
So that was the problem. Now I'm making progress.
Initiating sanitization protocol.
That ability.
Hang on.
isn't ready.
Nobody's gonna be sanitized as long as I am.
That ability isn't ready yet. Not ready. Target.
Oh, I hate this boss fight.
Old magic fingers finally won through. Now let's get down to
Alert. Security field deactivated. Beginning cavalry purge.
No!
This destination.
Aha! This should do the trick.
System online. Life form pattern recognized. Welcome, Van Bronson. Query.
Query? What do you think I'm here for? Tea and biscuits? Spill the beans already. Tell me how the dwarves came to be. And start at the beginning.
Accessing prehistoric data. Retrieved. In the beginning, earthen were created.
Right, I know the earthen were made from stone to shape the deep regions of the world. But what about the anomalies? Matrix, non-stabilizing and whatnot.
Accessing. In the early stages of its development cycle, Azeroth suffered infection by parasitic, necrophotic symbiotes.
Necro one, speak bloody common, will ya?
Designation. Old Guards. Old Guards rendered all systems, including earthen, defenseless in order to facilitate assimilation. This matrix destabilization has been termed the Curse of Flesh.
Oh God! So they sap me.
Can't do that yet.
Accessing. Creators arrived to extirpate
It's too far
symbiotic
away.
infection. Everyone will die from infestation. Excising parasites result in loss of host.
That ability is
I hope you all rot! I never wanted.
Correct. Creators neutralized parasitic threat and contained it within the host.
I can't
Forge of
attack
wills
them.
and other systems were instituted to create new earthen. Safeguards were implemented, and protectors were appointed.
What protectors?
Designations: Aesir and Vanir, or, in common nomenclature, Storm and Earth Giants. Sentinel
That
Loken
ability isn't
designated
ready yet.
Supreme. Dragon aspects appointed to monitor evolution of Azeroth.
Aesir and Vanir. Okay, so the Forge of Will started making new earthen.
Not
What
ready.
happened to the old ones?
Additional background is relevant to your query. Following global combat between Aesir and Vanir,
Hold everything. The Aesir and the Vanir went to war? Why?
unknown. Data suggests that impetus for global combat originated with Prime Designate Loken, who neutralized all remaining Aesir and Vanir, effecting termination of conflict. Prime Designate Loken then initiated stasis of several seed races, including Earthen, Giants, and Vrykul, at designated holding facilities.
This Loken sounds like a nasty character. Glad we don't have to worry about the likes of him anymore. So if I'm understanding you right, the original Earthen eventually woke up from this stasis, and by that time, the destabilized whatever had turned them into proper dwarves. Or at least, dwarf ancestors.
Essentially, that is correct.
Well now, that's a lot to digest. I'm gonna need some time to take this in. Thank you.
Acknowledged, Brand Bronson. Session terminated.
Don't worry, old Bram's got your back. Keep that metal monstrosity busy and I'll see if I can't sweet-talk this machine into helping you. This is a wee bit escape with the curse of fall, bloody shit. Come in! In the name of the God and the doctor. Ah, that did it. Helps are coming. Your glory rest until the forge is retaken. You, Shane, the answers are here. Nothing! I can feel it. The truth is out there. Loken! That's downright bothersome. We might have neutralized the Iron Dwarves, but I'd lay odds there's another machine somewhere else, churning out a whole mess of these iron frights. I'll use the forge to make batches of earthen to stand guard, but our greatest challenge still remains. Find and stop Loken.
That's an easy challenge. Tired. Why isn't this coming off, man? What do you mean? Why?
Great to meet you.
I can't put that there.
Be good.
I need to get closer. Not enough rage. It's too far away.
Welcome. Safe travels.
Daddy.
I'm out of range.
Scourge was not our greatest enemy.
I can't do that. Can't do that.
We fought back the scourge. What challenge you to meet them? Swallow you up. fall.
Duel me, bro. Love the name. Who he's dueling? Is the one dungeon? Yes, dude.
Hello. See you later.
Talk to me. Very good. Interest you on a pint? Off
It's
with
too
you.
far away.
Finally, an upgrade.
Not good. That ability isn't ready yet. Need more rage. I can't do that. Something first.
My liege, I have done as you asked, and now beseech you for your blessing.
Your sacrifice is a testament to your obedience. Indeed, you are worthy of this charge. Arise, and forever be known as Svala Sorrowgrave.
The sensation is beyond my imagining. I am yours to command, my king.
Your first test awaits you. Destroy our uninvited guests.
I will be happy to slaughter them in your name. Come, enemies of the Scourge, I will show you the might of the Lich King. I did not not come this far.
I can't do that yet. I'm out of range. I can't do that. That ability isn't ready yet. I can't do that yet. That ability. Need a target. Can't do that yet. Ability isn't ready. Can't do that. I can't attack that. Not ready. That ability isn't ready yet. I need a target. I can't attack that. I can't attack that target. I can't attack that. I can't. That ability isn't not ready. I don't have a target.
How do we skip this?
What mongrels dare intrude here? Look alive, my brothers! A feast for the one that brings me their heads!
Beast?
Not ready.
Oops.
That ability. Not ready. That ability. I can't do that yet. I don't have a target.
You call that an attack? I'll show.
I'm out of range. I can't do that yet. I don't have a target. I need to get closer.
Oh, what the fuck?
Not ready yet. That ability isn't ready yet. That ability isn't ready.
Ranulf of the Screaming Abyss! Snuff these maggots with dart!
Can't do that. That ability not enough range. Not ready.
Awaits me now.
You got my attention. Watch your back. Hey, good. Watch your back.
You need something? See you around.
79, baby.
What are you looking for? Have a good one.
I can't put that there. I'm out of range.
Well met.
It's too far away.
Warriors unite.
Not ready. I can't do that yet. That ability isn't ready yet. Not ready. I can't do that yet. Not ready yet. That ability isn't ready yet. I can't do that yet.
back in business. Now, to execute an exit strategy. It seems my friend must be barred with entry. The high quality of arcane energy is near. Time goes ransacked. This is an unrecoverable loss.
Not ready yet. I don't have a target. I need a target. I don't have a target. I can't do that yet. That ability isn't ready yet. I can't do that yet. Not ready. I'm out of range. Can't do that. I need to get closer.
A valiant defense,
That
but this
ability
city
isn't
must
ready
be
yet.
raised. I will fulfill Malagos's wishes myself.
I don't have a
5,
target. I
4,
need a target.
Are you
I don't have a
tired?
target.
2,
I need a target.
1.
I don't have a target. I need a target. I don't
We
have a target.
finish this now, champions of the Kira.
I can't do that. That ability isn't ready. Not ready yet. That ability. I can't do that. Not ready.
can I do for you?
I can't put that there.
Aganator.
See you around. I can't put that there.
What can I do for you?
Need help? Be careful.
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like getting Bateman when you need Batman.
Stop! Whoa, cat lady! Time out!
Nice fanny bag.
Thank you.
What is going on, guys? This is Earpugs, and today we are going to be doing the MoP tier list. Now, this specific tier list is going to be for every class and spec in the game, and it is going to be for Season 12, which is the very first season of Mists of Pandaria. This tier list will be covering every class and spec in Mists of Pandaria, primarily focusing around 3v3 as well as some 2v2. Going from Cataclysm to Mists of Pandaria is an absolute massive leap in terms of how the game is structured, in terms of how classes operate, cooldowns, mobility, damage, CD trading, even the health and the damage distribution is completely different going into Mists of Pandaria. Starting off with the Priest class, we have one of my favorite specs in the game, the Discipline Priest. Now, unfortunately, in Mists of Pandaria, Disc Priest is just a worse version of Holy for a multitude of reasons. To oversimplify, Disc Priests in Mists of Pandaria have one ability which is called Spirit Shell. Spirit Shell is an ability that simply turns your healing into a big shield. That's all it does. So if you press Spirit Shell, you cast a flash heal. Instead of them getting healed for, let's say, 50,000, they now have a shield for 50,000. That ability has a cooldown and is kind of pointless in PvP. The only benefit you could ever have, let's say you know they're going to do a big go on a target, you could like pre-heal that target with Spirit Shell, but the amount of times that the other team would see a 400k shield and then just go through it, they would never do that. They would just switch the kill target. So on top of that, Penance hits for the same number that it does in Wrath of the Lich King. Penance, unfortunately, does nothing. They don't have Surge of Light. They don't have Guardian Spirit. They don't have They don't have Lightwell. They don't have Holy Word Serenity. So all of that is going to be putting Discipline into the D tier, unfortunately, for MoP Arena. There's really no comp that I could possibly see where you would say, oh no, you would play Disc over Holy here in MoP. It's just not a thing. You would never say that because Holy is better in every regard. Moving on to the new and improved Priest in Mists of Pandaria, we have the Holy Priest. Now, the Holy Priest gets a swath of changes and buffs going from the whole timeline of TBC, Wrath, Cataclysm to Mists of Pandaria now. It is the first time in all of the classic expansions where Holy is not only better than Disc, but significantly better than Disc. Holy Priests are primarily instant cast healers, which is really, really strong because in Mists of Pandaria, you need instant heals sometimes that are worth a lot. And Holy Priests get a chance to get a Surge of Light, which gives them an instant flash heal every time they press any kind of a heal. So you can literally sit there, press Renew, and just get an instant proc for a flash of light that lasts for a pretty long time. I believe it's about 20 seconds. Priests also get Angelic Feather, making them really, really fast. You are able to put down 3 feathers, you know, with an internal cooldown that rotates, and you can put them on yourself, on your teammates, on whoever. It makes you really fast. Priests also pick up Life Swap as a new ability. It's called Void Shift, but everybody calls it Life Swap. It will instantly switch your health bar with another person's health bar, which is really, really insane. You'll notice a trend in Mists of Pandaria, because in MoP, all of the healers become giga broken. Like if you took a single healer from any of these tier lists, Resto Druid, Holy Pally, Archam, Holy Priest, and you put them in Kata or Wrath or TBC, they would be the best healer in the game by 20 miles. Like, it's not even comparable. Every healer in MoP is so broken, it's unbelievable. And since everything in MoP is kind of broken, that's what makes it balanced in a way. The reason that Holy Priest is going to go very strong into the A tier is because they have a ton of mobility for their team with the Feather, as I mentioned. They have Chastise now, which allows you to 30-yard instant cast, incapacitate somebody for 3 seconds, and then you use your Feather, you fly across the arena, you can even go invisible with Spectral Dive, and then you go Fear the guy, and then you have Dominate Mind as well. You have Psyfiend, Dominate Mind, which is Mind Control. It doesn't have a DR with Fear, so you can literally Chastise, Sprint, Fear, Mind Control, Mind Control, Mind Control, then your Mage Blankets, then your Mage Sheeps. Mage has instant Sheep. Like, the CC is insane in Mists of Pandaria, so they are definitely a very strong healer. I would not put Holy Priest into the S tier, just because, let's say you kill their Lightwell, they don't have Guardian and they don't have Trinket, right? They are a very CCable healer, and although they are going to roll Renew on people and stuff with Palm, and their shields are all right in MoP, the general vibe is that they can't do a lot of healing if they're in crowd control, and they don't have many avenues to mitigate that, right? They have Shadow Word Death, they have Fear Ward, they have some avenues. But if you get hit with one of the 10 million instant CCs in Mists of Pandaria, Stormbolt, Blanket Nova, Sheep, Palm Sheep, Howl of Terror, Shadow Fury, Death Coil, there's just a million CCs that can hit you, and they start the CC chain. You are going to not play your character, sometimes for 30 seconds, and that puts a lot of pressure on your DPS, whereas a class like Resto Druid would have HOTS rolling on that target. Resto Druid can also use Iron Bark and Sen Ward and Silence, which is really ridiculous. Holy Priests don't have any abilities they can use while silenced. With all that being said, they are still very strong. Definitely a rank 1 capable spec. Holy Priest is very, very good. It's pretty fun if you like to be mobile. And overall, yeah, just a super strong healer. Has a great amount of comps. They're a very tempo-based healer. Like, if you are a very pressure comp, like RNP or jungle, right, you have a lot of damage. You're putting a lot of CC. You have a lot of front-loaded goes. That's where Holy Priest is really, really good. They don't really want to dampen. Holy Priest doesn't really want to go super late game. They want to end fast. They want to use their Chastise Fear every 30 seconds off CD. That's basically what Holy Priest is all about in Mists of Pandaria, is Chastise Fear, and then, you know, in between you're going to throw your chakras, you're going to throw your instants, you're going to give feathers, you're going to purge, you're going to clean, and that's how they play. Moving up next, we have the Holy Paladin. Now, the Holy Paladin is very, very strong, just like pretty much every other healer in Mists of Pandaria. Every healer is very, very strong. I would put the Holy Paladin into the A tier for sure. It is a very, very strong healer, and in terms of how does the class work, it doesn't really change. And from, let's say, you know, Wrath to Kata to Mists of Pandaria, the Holy Paladin is very similar to Kata as well as Wrath. If the Holy Pally's free and they're casting, nobody's dead ever. Like, nobody could ever die. Like, they have such spiked heals. They also get a little bit of a hot with Illuminated Healing now. But as far as a concept goes, like, what does Holy Pally bring to the table, right? You've got freedoms. You've got Bubble. You've got Bop. You've got Sacrifice. You have Wings. You have Guardian. You know, it's a huge, huge thing in terms of pressure. It's a very pressure-based healer. On top of that, since the heals have been buffed so dramatically in Mists of Pandaria, Holy Pally now can actually dampen a little bit compared to what it could before. So, obviously, is a Holy Pally the best dampener healer in the game? Certainly not. But can a Holy Paladin in MoP go late game much better than it could in Kata? Absolutely. It's uncomparable to in terms of how strong every healer is. As far as what H-Pallies get out of Mists of Pandaria, they do have Turn Evil, which is a castable fear now that lasts 8 seconds. That is a pretty big deal. Eternal Flame is that hot that I mentioned before. And then they also get an ability called Blinding Light, which is a 6-second disorient. They can basically run up to somebody, cast it, and then it's like a blind, where they'll just walk around. It's a disorient for 6 seconds. It'll break on damage. One of the biggest weaknesses that Holy Pallies have always had, which is that they don't have a lot of CC, right? They don't have Shear. They don't have Purge. They don't have Fear. They don't have Mind Control. They don't have Cyclone. They don't have Bash, right? Now they have Fear. Now they have Blinding Light. You know, they also have a sprint now too. Holy Pallies can sprint around, which makes pretty much everybody in MoP can sprint around. Like, in terms of Wrath to Kata to MoP, MoP is the beginning of, like, these retail-style mobilities where everybody is infinitely fast all the time. Like, everybody's Demon Hunter in MoP, pretty much, with a very select few classes like Warlock that are not like that. But most classes are just Demon Hunter at all times. Everybody's flying around. That's just kind of how it is in MoP. The mobility creep is a little insane, I'm not going to lie. But moving forward, that is kind of what Holy Pally does. They are very, very strong when they are loose. They do suffer from the same fate of a Holy Priest, right? If the Holy Pally gets controlled for a long time and they're not able to do these huge shocks, these huge instant casts, these divine lights, these guardian heals, then obviously you're dead, right? So you have a lot of tools to mitigate it, of course. Hand of Sack, Bubble, Trinket, Freedoms, you know, etc., etc. Hammer of Justice, if you want to spec into Hodge. But overall, they're going to land themselves a spot in the A tier because they are very strong, and when played correctly, they are certainly an extremely viable healer who is very, very competitive. Moving on to the elephant in the room. In Cataclysm, Restoration Druids were pretty much completely unviable. They unfortunately got the nerf bat so badly on the last patch of Kata that they were just nerfed out of existence in Cataclysm. And to fix that, Blizzard decided, hey, why don't we make Resto Druid the best healer in the game, unquestionably. And so, since they did that, this is what we ended up with. In Mists of Pandaria, Resto Druid is certainly S tier. They are the best healer in the game by a decent margin. I'm not going to say that it's not so bad where it's like, oh my god, they have Resto Druid, we can't win. Like, it's not like that, of course. But it's certainly like, the Resto Druid's kit is the biggest. They have the most. They have everything in Mists of Pandaria. The list of abilities that Resto Druid gets going into Mists of Pandaria, I could make a whole video on just the list of abilities. So I'll try to summarize it and keep it quick for you guys. Resto Druid in Mists of Pandaria is still a hot-based healer. They still use Rejuvenation. They still use Life Blooms. You know, they have all these healing over time effects, but they also pick up something that they've never had in all of Classic Arena. Resto Druid is one of the only classes that from TBC to Wrath of the Lich King to Cataclysm has never had a Hand of Sacrifice, a Pain Suppression, a Power Word Barrier. They've never had anything like that. So now in Mists of Pandaria, they have an ability called Iron Bark, which is just a damage mitigation cooldown. And it has a 30-second cooldown. On top of all of that, it's usable while you're silenced. So that is just insane. They went from having 0 damage mitigation CDs to having the best damage mitigation CDs in the history of the game up until Mists of Pandaria. So that's just Iron Bark. Moving past that, they have the highest output in terms of total healing over time. If you have a target that a Resto Druid put every hot in the game on, that guy is basically invulnerable and you're not going to be able to kill them unless you actually have like the special beam cannon lined up and have a whole health bar worth of damage in 1 second lined up. Resto Druids pick up Displacer Beast, which allows them to blink across the arena. They pick up Cenarion Ward now, which is another damage mitigation CD, also castable while silenced. They have their normal toolkit of a bunch of hots like Wild Growth, Life Bloom, Rejuve, Regrowth. Their Swift Mend now hits for a truckload, gives them 100% haste after their Swift Mend, as well as having the ability to shift to stop themselves from getting polymorphed. They also have a Silence that is castable in bear form. They can Fairy Fire somebody in bear form if they glyph it, and it will silence them for 3 seconds. They can run over to somebody and disorient them for 3 seconds with their bear form roar. They have Cyclone, they have Entangling Roots. They also have a knock now, and then of course they still have meld pounce. And on top of all of that, they can also have a bash. To say that our druid isn't the best healer is just factually incorrect. Their toolkit is absolutely insane. They have insane heals, the most control out of any healer in the game, huge damage mitigation CDs. They have a huge toolkit to avoid themselves from getting CC'd. They also get Heart of the Wild, which is a huge heal for themselves. They also get Symbiosis, which allows you to take an ability from another class and then swap it to them as well. It works differently with every other class, but if they switch with a Warrior, for example, they get Warrior Fear. And if they switch with a bunch of other classes, they get one of their spells, of course. With all that being said, our druid is obviously the dominant healer. And as I mentioned before, I don't want to say that, oh, our druid is better than everyone and nobody should play another healer, because that couldn't be further from the truth. In Mists of Pandaria, every healer is kind of just Giga-broken. So, although our druid is the most broken, all the other healers are, except for Disc. Disc is awful, which is so sad for me to say. But all the other healers are very, very, very strong. Up next, we have the Restoration Shaman. Now, this healer has the same style of changes going into Mists of Pandaria in terms of Cataclysm to MoP, etc. They still use totems. The biggest difference is that now Healing Stream is a big heal. It is a cooldown-based heal instead of having a constant stream. But they are still using Riptide, they are still using Earth Shield, and they are still shearing the enemy, they still have Purge, they still have Ground. So the playstyle is pretty similar to how it was in Cataclysm. They have Spirit Link, etc. With that being said, their healing output is very, very strong, and they are probably, I don't want to say that they're the best at it, but they're extremely good at passive healing. Like, if you had a heal off of just who could AFK 100 yards away and just passively keep their team alive, Arsham is definitely going to be one of the top of the list there. They are so, so good at just rolling passive heals 24/7, AoE healing. They have some of the best multi-healing in the entire game. They do still have Hex, and they can still be offensive when they need to, but they're generally speaking a much, much more passive healer than you would see from really even any of these three. Resto Druid, Holy Priest, Holy Paladin. All three of these are going to be more aggressive than an Shaman, even the H-Pal, since you have Hodge, of course, and Blinding Light now as H-Pal. So there's not a whole lot to talk about. They're a very strong healer. Arsham is definitely going to go into the A tier. It is certainly, you know, rank 1 viable. Druid, rank 1 viable. H-Priest, rank 1 viable. H-Pal, rank 1 viable. Arsham, rank 1 viable. Every healer is God tier in MoP for the most part. They're all very strong. Up next, we have a brand new class for Mists of Pandaria, and it wouldn't be Mists of Pandaria if it wasn't for the Mist Weaver. We do have an extremely powerful healer. This is, of course, on the Monk class, which is the new class that they added. The Mist Weaver is a very aggressive healer. They can play in on top of something, doing damage. So they can be a very aggressive healer when they want to. They are also very good at sitting back with their Jade Statue and just cranking out heals. Monks get a new ability in Mists of Pandaria, which is called Ring of Peace. And in my opinion, it is the most broken ability that's ever been added so far in Classic, across TBC, Wrath, Cataclysm, and now MoP. Ring of Peace, in its Mists of Pandaria form, is an ability that has a pretty short cooldown. I believe it's 45 seconds. And they can put it on a target, which is their teammates or themselves. And anything that is in like this 20-yard, 15-yard AoE area that sticks to the player is going to be silenced and disarmed with no counterplay. So it is just absolutely crazy in terms of how OP it is. Let's say someone's about to get all-in by a melee cleave. You put a Ring of Peace on that player, and the two melees are completely useless for the rest of that Ring of Peace, which is just insane. No other class in the game has an ability like that. They have some of the highest healing output as well. They have huge burst heals, as well as having the most mobility in the game with roll. They also have a teleport. They're hard to kill too, because if you stun a Mistweaver, they go invulnerable, kind of like iframes, for the next 2 seconds. So if you stun a Mistweaver, they're uncastable, unhittable for the next 2 seconds. So they're very strong for just a multitude of reasons. If they don't want to go with Ring of Peace, they can go with Leg Sweep. They also have a Paralysis ability, which is like an Incapacitate. They also have Nimble Brew, which allows them to get out of a CC, so they literally have a second trinket, which is pretty insane. They are able to put orbs on the ground to heal their teammates, and when they need to, they can cast, which gives a huge amount of healing. Overall, the Mistweaver Monk is an extremely powerful healer. I don't know if I would put it at the top of A or the bottom of S. At least how it feels from my anecdotal evidence. If you're fighting like a really high-level Mistweaver, they are just a nightmare to deal with. Like they roll around, they're so hard to CC, they have such a big kit, they can kick you, they can sweep you, they can ring a piece to you, whatever spec they chose, they have a way to stop you from stopping them. With that being said, I think it's a pretty high skill cap healer. It is one of those healers where if you kind of get tripped up on your globals, it's very easy to fall behind and just lose right there. But if you're very proactive, you're very ahead of the curve, I personally believe that Mistweaver would be in either bottom of S or top of A. I'm going to put it in the bottom of S, to be honest, because it's just so strong. Like, they can dampen, they can burst heal, they have control, they have mobility, they have instant heals, they have casted heals, they have everything. They also have a disarm, so their toolkit is absolutely ridiculous. With all of that information, I put them in the bottom of S for those reasons. It is a very hard class, but it is an extremely potent one when played correctly. Alrighty, moving past that, we are just going to breeze through these trash specs. So Fury is awful, Prot is bad, Tank Druid is not a thing, Blood Decay is not a thing, Prot Pally is not a thing, Brewmaster is not a thing. So if you're Fury, Prot, Tank, Blood, etc., etc., these are all off meta, not strong. Up next, we have the Retribution Paladin. Now, this is going to be the first of the DPS classes. Ret Pally is very similar, kind of the same situation that Holy Pally is, moving from Kata to Mists of Pandaria. Ret Paladin is the same style of damage for the most part. They do have range damage, of course, like they did in Kata, but they're obviously primarily a melee. They have a lot of utility for their team. They do have a new thing now where if they use their Hand of Sacrifice on one of their teammates, they can break their teammates out of CCs. And if I'm not mistaken, that has 2 charges. They still have Templar's Verdict, they still have Wings, they still do a ton of damage. They are a very bursty class. They still have a lot of off heals, they have a lot of support, they have Freedom, they have Bop. Overall, there's not a ton of differences from Kata Ret to MoP Ret, other than, you know, the fact that they get the MoP treatment, right? They have mobility, they have speed. They also have the same options that Holy Pally has, where they can choose Repentance, Hammer of Justice, or Turn Evil. Turn Evil is castable now as a Fear, and then they have Blinding Light, of course. Putting all of that together, they do suffer from some of the same problems that Retribution Paladin has always had, right? They are a class that has no charge, they have no intervene, they have no blade storm. They don't have a ton of CC, but they do have damage, they have a lot of support. Since they don't have an insane one-shot, and their sustain damage is not as high as it could have been, you know, back in like Wrath, for example. Ret's actually had decent sustain dam. I am going to put Ret into the top of the B tier for all of those reasons. Up next, we have the Subtlety Rogue. Now, this is an interesting class, right? Because for 3 expansions now, we have TBC, right? Rogue is the play, and it's Subtlety, and Rogue is the best melee, arguably, in TBC. In Wrath of the Lich King, while Rogue is not the best melee, per se, they are very, very, very strong. In Season 5, I would make the argument that Rogues are better than Warriors are in Wrath of the Lich King. After Season 5, Season 6, 7, 8, then Warriors, of course, would be better than Rogues. And then in Cataclysm, Rogues are very strong Season 9, 10, and then, of course, when they get Bone Link, then Rogue becomes the best class in the entire game, unquestionably, because all you have to do is auto-attack somebody to do 40,000 damage instantly to do Trinket. Moving past all of that, we are now in Mists of Pandaria, and it is the first time that we have seen Rogue fall from grace, right? We have Rogue S tier in all 3 X packs, pretty much, you know, maybe A tier in Wrath. We have S tier Rogue TBC, AS depending on the season Wrath, and then S tier S++ Cataclysm. Now, in Mists of Pandaria, I don't know exactly where to put Sub-Rogue. They are certainly viable, that's for sure. Subtlety Rogue is definitely a minimum of B. The problems that Sub-Rogue has is it's the same as Wrath.
Into the wild green yonder. Oh, you didn't tell me. Okay.
Kind of. Subtlety Rogue has to have cooldowns to be effective. If you are trying to do damage outside of your burst window as a Subtlety Rogue and Mists of Pandaria, you're really not going to do anything effective for the most part. You know, you need Shadow Dance, you need CDs, you need Subterfuge. You need these abilities if you're going to try to make an effective go. Now, with that being said, if they have the abilities, if they have their bomb, if they have blind, if they have dance, if they have a go, Sub-Rogue is very strong in that situation, right? It's just a class that needs to reset, and that's why one of the most popular comps that you will see Sub-Rogue being played with is RMD, right? And not RMP. RMP is still good in MoP, of course, but RMD gives the Cyclone reset potential that RMP doesn't, right? Let's say you have a guy really low, you just did your go, and now their healer's going to get out of CC, and remember, every healer's broken in Mists of Pandaria. So if you allow the enemy healer to get out of CC for 1 second, they're probably going to press a button that's going to just about instantly top the guy that's dying, or at least get him up to half so he's unkillable now. And that allows the Druid to Cyclone the target low, then the Druid can go into the healer, and then bash the healer, and then clone the healer, and then knock the healer, and then meld pounce the healer, and then you sheep the healer, and then you blanket the healer, etc, etc, etc. You get it. Subtlety Rogue going into Mists of Pandaria is definitely very strong. I don't know enough, to be honest, about Sub-Rogue to make a super expert opinion on it, because I would just be lying to you if I told you I know every single inch of Sub-Rogue and MoP, because I don't. That's not true. But from what I've seen and what I've read and what I've played, it's certainly a rank 1 viable class. It's just hard to play, and it's very rigid. You cannot like just attack people as Sub-Rogue like you could in Kata. In Kata, you can just attack people to death in Season 11. Just attack them, who cares, you're brawling. In MoP, you need to reset, you need to do goes, it needs to be clean. With all that being said, I would put Sub-Rogue into the B tier for these reasons. The playstyle is very resetty, it's much closer to Wrath than it is to Cataclysm for sure, but I don't think it's as strong as Wrath Rogue is. With that being said, still pretty good, strong. I wouldn't say it's weak. It's just hard to play and super comp dependent, because it's definitely not weak. And for all those reasons, it goes into the B tier, which is the strong tier. Alright, up next we got Combat Rogue. Uh-oh. I actually have only fought one Combat Rogue. Some of the weird stuff they did in Mists of Pandaria is they give rogues these talents like Burst of Speed, where you can just sprint around the arena at all times as all 3 specs. So, in past expansions, if you are a combat rogue, if you are an assassination rogue, right, you're playing Mutilate, you don't have Shadow Step in these past expansions, right? Because you have to choose between Shadow Step or, you know, Mutilate or Killing Spree, right? Now that we're in Mists of Pandaria, that's not how it is anymore, right? You have this new talent tree, everything is choosable, it's a lot less spec dependent. So the whole argument for combat, to my knowledge, is that they have more sustained damage than Sub, but they don't have a ton of burst compared to Sub. Sub has the most amount of burst out of all 3 specs for sure, since they have the Master of Subtlety, and the way it has always been for Sub-Rogue, right? When Sub-Rogue has Dance, when Sub-Rogue has CDs, they're going to be doing a lot of damage in a short time. Truthfully, on Combat Rogue and Mists of Pandaria, I'm not giga educated. I don't know if it is D off meta unviable or C viable. To oversimplify quite a lot, Combat is kind of just a worse version of Warrior, because your sustained damage is lower, and you're just not as scary as a Warrior is with Shockwave, and Fear, and Stormbolt, and Recklessness, etc, etc. So for all those reasons, and since I don't know the most about it, it's definitely going to go into the C tier. I had fought Combat 1 time on the Mists of Pandaria beta, and it did not seem strong at all. Up next, we have Assassination in Mists of Pandaria. Now, this is going to be S tier for sure. No. No. Assassination, I haven't even seen it. It's just Mutilate. Mutilate is just sustained damage, but they don't have enough sustained damage to justify them over a Warrior, as I said previously, right? They're kind of the same. Combat and Mutilate are pretty much very, very similar in terms of playstyle. I've seen Combat, I haven't even seen Assassination. So for that reason, I'm going to put Assassination in the D tier, because I haven't even seen a Mutilate player. I haven't even seen one of them. Up next, we have the Shadowy Wizard Demon Man. We have the Destruction Warlock. Now, Destro is in an interesting place in Mists of Pandaria because it is better than it was in Kata, but worse than it was in Wrath. So it's in this in-between phase where it's certainly good in certain comps, but it needs those comps to enable it. One of the biggest problems that Destrolock has is that Chaos Bolt is now a 3-second cast before you get haste. That's like legit casting a res almost. So in terms of a fast-paced game like Mists of Pandaria is, where everybody has Nimble Brew or Unbound Will or all these CDs to get out of stuff, they can trinket, they can kick, they can blank it, they can stun you. For you to stand there and just cast a Chaos Bolt and get it off is very difficult. Now, it is possible, so don't get me wrong. You have Death Coil, right? You have tools. If you play with a mage, you have a Deep Freeze. You could like Palm Sheep 1, Deep 1, Blanket 3, then cast the Chaos Bolt, you send them right there, right? They still use Conflag, they still use Immolate, so the playstyle is similar, but one of the differences now is you get Havoc, and Havoc is a thing that allows you to multicast. So for the first time, Destro is a class where you can cast on multiple targets at once. If you mark a target with Havoc, it's literally reverse Beacon of Light. So you can Chaos Bolt Arena 1, and if you Havoc Arena 2, it will Chaos Bolt both of them. And if you Blanket Silence Arena 1, it will Blanket Silence Arena 1 and 2. Same with Death Coil, you Death Coil 2. So it's certainly viable. It certainly is, you know, strong in the right setups. I have fought Destrolocks, and Destrolocks are definitely, you know, Mage Lock Druid seems like a pretty solid comp for them. You definitely need a lot of setup for Destrolock. They don't have as fluid of a toolkit as Affliction does because of this handicap that they have where they must cast to be effective. If they are casting, don't get me wrong, they're going to be blasting, right? They do a lot of damage, but it's hard to get that window. So, you know, Destrolock has to be very good. The team has to play around the Destrolock. It's almost like the same situation that the Sub-Rogue is in, right? The Sub-Rogue, the team needs to play around you. The Destrolock, the team needs to play around you. In terms of where would I put Destrolock, I don't know where you would put it over Rogue or whatever. I'd probably put it over Ret for sure. But Rogue and Destrolock, I don't know. You can make the argument for either one. I don't really care. It's a strong. Rank 1 viable spec, obviously. The only thing is that it's very specific, right? It's very, very specific. Also, guys, so you know, I would say strong and up is rank 1 viable, and then like viable below. Like viable's probably Glad. Or maybe like, nah, it's gotta be Glad. Like, I don't think you're getting rank 1 on this combat. Yeah, so rank 1 and up would be B+, and then C down would be, you know, Glad or whatever. Some other changes that Destro gets is not necessarily a lot. I've already talked about most of the changes. It's almost like a nerf to Destro that they have moved Shadow Fury into the base talent tree because Shadow Fury is like what made Destro strong, especially in Wrath, right? You have this AoE stun where you can cast a Chaos Bolt in the stun, right? You Shadow Fury, you Chaos Bolt Conflag, and that's big damage. That's your go. Most Destros, I believe they actually play Coil now, to my knowledge. But I'm not experienced enough on Destro to make that call. There's probably situations where you'd want either Coil or Shadow Fury, because obviously with Coil you can Havoc somebody, double Coil, but I am not educated enough to make that call as to exactly what the perfect talents would be for a Destrolock. With all that being said, they are certainly viable. They are strong in the right comps, but they need the right team behind them. That lands them a spot in the B tier. Moving on to Demonology. Now, the Demonology Warlock is in an interesting position because it had a lot of different changes over Mists of Pandaria that I don't know all the ins and outs of, but the general gist of Demonology is that the final patch version of it is much weaker than it once was. The primary way that Demonology gets kills is by going into Metamorphosis form and then using Chaos Wave to do a bunch of damage, which is pretty similar, to be honest, to how it works in Wrath as well as Cataclysm. You pop your Metamorphosis, you get your Immolation Aura going, you get all your AoE damage, and you try to land a kill while you have this transformation. Outside of that, it doesn't really have a ton of burst. It's pretty much just a worse version of Destro or Affliction outside of your Metamorphosis, which is kind of the whole drawback, so it's a double-edged sword. When you're in Metamorphosis, you're doing damage, but this is the nerfed version of Metamorphosis. At one point, it was very, very strong, but not currently on the current patch. So for all those reasons, I am going to put it in the C tier. You probably could play it, but I don't think you could get rank 1 with it. Maybe you could if you had some insane God tier players. But overall, for those reasons, I'm going to put it into the C tier. Moving on to the Affliction Warlock. This is an iconic spec and class, of course. In Mist of Pandaria, it is a very strong one. Now, let's talk about how Affliction Lock has changed throughout the expansions,
I want to bet,
right?
I'm tired.
In Wrath of the